Welcome to Mobile Armor Radio, the podcast for all things mecha.
Welcome, everybody, to a very special episode of Mobile Armor Radio. We have a special guest. You'll notice there's 4 of us this time, for those who can count. We have a special guest. It's Matt Click from Absolute Tabletop, here to talk about his new special Kickstarter. How do you pronounce it? Is it Aether or Aether?
I say Aether Nexus. I've been told that that's not actually how you pronounce that word, but I feel like Aether Nexus is strange to say, so I say Aether Nexus.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's your fantasy world. You can say what you want to.
Exactly. It's all made up anyway, so...
You can throw umlauts around it.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Accents.
Exactly.
Yeah,
this is just how it's phonetically spelled.
That's it. It's not pronounceable by human tongues. That's what it is.
Yes.
But new Kickstarter. Well, we might as well get right into it. Everybody knows who we are. We don't have to introduce ourselves. But this special episode, we're here just to talk about the Kickstarter. So it's going pretty good right now. I could pop up the actual page. Right, I love how mine is in Canadian dollars. For some reason, it always does that, but we can.
Oh, that's funny. I don't know how we're doing in Canadian dollars.
You're almost to 50,000. 50,000 in Canadian dollars.
Oh man, that sounds way more impressive than 37 in U.S. dollars. That's amazing.
But you're way past your stretch goal, anyways. So.
Yeah, we just blew past that last stretch goal. That's amazing.
And 866 backers, 23 days to go. So we'll put this out pretty much right away. So it'll be that.
I'm pretty good about that.
Yeah, so it's a I wouldn't say an expansion or even a sequel to Mecha Hack, but it's built on the same bones pretty much. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It uses the Mecha Hack as sort of the foundation for its rules. And when I first started writing it, it was going to be sort of a small supplement that we were just going to publish, and it was going to be like, here's how you run fantasy games with the Mecha Hack, and it very quickly spiraled out of control and became its own world and setting. And then I sort of started tweaking the rules a little bit, and it sort of became its own game in its own right. So now here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, you gave us the playtest version, and it's comes in quite a few pages. It's longer than Mecha Hack was, isn't it?
Yeah, it is longer than Mecha Hack, and it's going to have quite a bit of setting stuff in it as well, which the Mecha Hack, I think, had like 4 total pages of setting information. So this is definitely like a setting first sort of situation, and so it's going to delve a lot into the world, and a lot of the sort of like mechanics and stuff that we're adding to the game are like sort of thematically linked to the world. So there'll be rules for like sky ships and doing different things with magic and things like that. So it'll be a little bit deeper, more robust than the Mecha Hack.
I will say I did enjoy the backstory that you have up here. So as we've talked before, backstory is really helpful when it comes to settings and everything. So I'm looking forward to see what you guys come next with the backstory here. You only got like 3 pages on it, which is out of the playtest, which is I think is pretty good.
Yeah. Well, especially with like a fantasy world with lots of different things going on, I feel like it's important to not overload people when really I don't need to know a lot. I don't need to know what people think of the world so much as I need to know what people think of the mechanics. And so it definitely was like, I want to give you enough about the world so that you feel confident to kind of jump in and start exploring, but mostly like start playing with these toys and see what works.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's good to have that basis of the Mecha Hack anyway, so the basics work at least. It's just what you're adding on to it to see if that messes anything up or breaks anything.
Yeah, for sure. And we've been lucky to have a few people who are well versed in the Mecha Hack and game master it and stuff, and have a good handle on the rules, that they're able to look at the rules for Aether and kind of tell us what's working and what's not working. And we have a Discord going right now and we've been just getting a ton of great feedback from people. So like reception is like mostly positive, which is good, and the feedback is like very it's like actionable feedback. It's stuff like very specific about like, hey, this thing doesn't really work, or in an early play test we had an augment that was like like really gameable, where if everyone on the Nexus took it, there was like it was impossible to not just do an insane amount of damage every turn, and so he's scaling things back and stuff. But yeah, I always really appreciate people actually playing the game and giving feedback. It's like real a privilege as a game designer to be able to have people actually play your game and tell you what they think. So
for sure. And to piggyback on what you guys were saying earlier, like when you have kind of that core of the mecha hack, like mechanics wise, to really kind of fall back on, that's where you can kind of say, getting to explore the lore. And I think fantasy based mecha almost kind of need that little extra, more so than the sci-fi sometimes. Because sci-fi, it's like, it's a mechanical machine that's powered with electricity, Isaac Newton. We figured this out. It's like, but more fantasy based ones, like, the kind of magic and that kind of space, it's a setting that is fantastical and there's a lot of wonder there. So being able to kind of craft that and create it, I think, is probably a very enjoyable aspect of this project for you.
For sure. And that's my background in game design is fantasy stuff, working with things like Dungeons and Dragons. And so getting to kind of meld like my love of mecha with my love of like high fantasy stuff is really fun. And I feel like, to speak to what you're saying, Brian, like with fantasy and mecha in particular, I feel like there has to be a good reason why mecha exists in a fantasy world. Just because it's like, where is all this metal coming from? How are they powered? Why are people building these things, and what purpose do they serve? And so thinking through those things, and like, why would these giant machines, live in tandem with people riding on horses and stuff. It's fun to think about that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think there's so much history of sci-fi mech that it's you almost have to have a little bit more backstory for the fantasy ones, because you can just always fall back on for the it's either Gundam or Voltron, or
a corporation built this.
Yeah, there's always something like there's so much background that was built into sci-fi, but like we say, like Escaflowne is one of the few fantasy mech anime that ever existed. So it's a whole new genre. We actually just talked about this at Adepticon. We're saying there's so many mech games, and we're thinking, what's the one thing nobody's done? And we said fantasy, and all of a sudden you come out with it. We're like, oh, it's in the works. It's there.
Your ears were burning, right?
Yeah. Well, in all honesty, it's something I've always wanted to do, and it's always been in the back of my mind. Like after making Mecha Hack, was like, I'd love to run like an Escaflowne style game, and coming up with the rules and realizing that the rules need to work a little bit differently for this to really feel like a fantastical, magical sort of thing, rather than it just being like it's sci-fi, but there's not laser guns and that sort of thing. So it's a love of mine, and it's just an aesthetic that I've always really loved, and I love any sort of fantasy that has mecha in it. So like, even like I don't know if you guys remember the old Mage Knight miniatures game.
Yes.
They had, and or like what's the one with the Warjacks? I always forget the name of it.
War Machine. Yeah.
Yeah, War Machine. Just like stuff like that. I'm so into that aesthetic, and so being able to do my own thing in an area that feels kind of unexplored, because you're right, there isn't really a fantasy mecha tabletop RPG out there. There are mecha games that support playing in fantasy, but not that I can think of any sort of fantasy mecha TTRPG. So it felt like it feels like we're kind of treading uncharted waters a little bit, which is a fun feeling to have.
Yeah, even War Machine's a lot more steampunk, or
totally.
It's not fantasy. It's more a little bit advanced.
And we like very intentionally steered away from steampunk, because I feel like that's kind of been done. Yeah. And it's funny, and actually like working with artists and stuff, one of the like top little bulleted things in the art Bible that we're giving out to people is no clockwork, no cogs, no steam. Like perfect, we don't want to see any steampunk in this.
I don't
want
to see a chimney anywhere.
Yeah, don't show me any chimneys. If I see a dude in a top hat, I'm gonna be pissed.
I will say that like the playtest book here like has some of kind of early art in it, and I'm really digging the aesthetic and the designs. That Dragoon mech in particular just looks so cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the artist that we've been working with, his name is Ben Floyder, and this was, so honestly, the biggest hurdle was finding an artist to. I didn't know what anything looked like. Like as I'm writing this game,
Sure.
I can't describe what it looks like, but I can see it. You know what I mean? But it's like it's it's biomechanical, but it's not gross. It's it looks like the mechs are made out of metal, but also looks like they're kind of not made out of metal. And we found Ben. I saw some of his mech art come up on Twitter. He's done stuff for other mecha properties in the past, and he has a couple really awesome web comics. And his mechanical designs are just like, he does this really awesome thing where it's like it's somehow really simplistic and like really clean silhouettes, but there's still a ton of like detail and wear and tear, and things feel like worn and used. And he really helped us nail down what things looked like. And honestly, once we brought Ben on and had him start kind of like doing concepts and stuff for us, my like writing just like took off, because it was like all of a sudden I could imagine what the world looked like and what the people looked like and how the mecha looked. And it was like, oh man, I know exactly what all of this is. I can just like churn through it now. So it's like
Absolutely.
indispensable to have an artist like him on board for sure.
Yeah, even with Mecha Hack, you had a great artist too. It's you find the style that just works. That it's simple but evocative, and yeah. So far, these pictures are amazing. Like just crazy artwork. That you always find a good style. Like you have a good eye for picking artists, I think.
Yeah, well, and I have to give kudos to our art director at AbTab, Tim Carney. He is he's not an artist himself, but he's one of these guys that just like kind of gets art, and like if something is missing or if something is kind of moving in the wrong direction, he knows how to kind of guide the art process. And so he's been really indispensable too in really honing in on the aesthetic that we want for Aether Nexus. So he's just, him and Ben together are just creating some really amazing looking stuff.
Yeah, even the cover that is on the Kickstarter and everything. You have the skyships in the background, and you have the scale of the lady up on the mech, and it gives
with the shield and a mace.
And it just
it sets the tone.
It really does, and it kind of gives that epic feel of like, you don't know exactly what this mech and this knight are kind of looking at in the distance, but you have to imagine it's just some epic grand vista or like a big battle that's happening or something.
Yeah, the floating islands in the background. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
It also, I love your logo too. It almost has a Final Fantasy kind of feel to it to me.
Yes. And the logo was actually done by a different artist named Alexander Kostic, who we've worked with a ton at Absolute Tabletop. We have a book called The Dead Man's Guide to Dragongrin, which is like a D&D source book. He did most of the art in there. We worked with him a ton, and he just does really incredible logo work. And we worked with him a lot on the logo over the last couple of months because we weren't sure exactly what we wanted it to be. And he just like really nailed it looks fantastical. It looks kind of ornate, but it's still just like really clean, and it really lets the cover shine too. That was a thing, is like, we don't want to cover up anything on the cover. We don't want the logo to be too big and blocky or cut out any of this beautiful landscape that we have in the background of this cover. So
it fits
very happy with the logo as well. Thank you.
Is that a Dragoon shadow in the back?
It is, yes. And good eye. Yeah, that's the Dragoon. And what the screenshot I supplied to Alex as a reference was the classic Wing Gundam Zero from Endless Waltz with the wings spread and the legs kind of down below with the two guns. I was like, I want that, but I want the Dragoon with a spear and a sword. And you nailed it. You
perfect. Yeah. It's amazing all the stuff that comes together to create this. But it's great.
Yeah, and it's very fortunate to just like work with a lot of cool creative people. Just like really lucky to be able to like bring people in to work on this, like really a pet project of mine that I wasn't sure what it was going to be or where it was going to go, and bringing in people that get excited about the project makes me more excited about it. So
yeah,
for sure.
Well, I guess we should give some history too. You did Mecha Hack how many years ago now did you create that?
Oh man, so that was in 2018, I think.
It's funny how everything seems so weird. There's a little time in between for something happening.
Yeah, I feel like we're living in a hyperbolic time chamber. I'm like not sure exactly how much time has passed, but yeah, I think it was 2017 or 2018 in there that we did Mecha Hack, and then Mission Manual I think was 20 or 21 if I'm remembering correctly.
And pretty much you started this right after that, or?
Yeah, I've been working on this since before I started Mission Manual, on and off, and it was a completely different thing when I first started working on it. But yeah, right after Mission Manual, I kind of started working on this, and I had a Patreon for a while that is now defunct because I just had a really hard time keeping up with it. But for a little while, I was working on a thing over there called Apparatus Ethereum, which eventually became Aether Nexus. Say Apparatus Ethereum 5 times.
Yeah,
it's just a terrible name, but that's I initially started working on that over on my Patreon and kind of roughing out what the world looked like and everything, and eventually it became Aether Nexus. But so yeah, this has been, I don't know, about 4 years that I've been working on this, just on my own, and then in the last year I've kind of brought in other people to help me make it happen. So
yeah, get the layout and everything going.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, it looks like it's coming along nicely. Like I say, the Kickstarter is doing quite well. You have some stretch goals I see too that are coming up.
Yeah, I think we just have one left, which is I do this every Kickstarter. I set the stretch. I just agonize over where to put the stretch goals, like in the numbers, and I'm always like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, I need to budget, how much it's going to cost to do these stretch goals, because the thing with the stretch goals is any new content that we add to the book, it's like we either have to pay somebody to write it or we have to pay to get more art to have more art in the book. And so I was thinking like, okay, budget that, but then also like pad it out enough where we're not just hitting stretch goal after stretch goal after stretch goal. So it's kind of space them out over the run of the Kickstarter. And obviously we're like, I don't know, just about a week in and we have one stretch goal left. So I've just done terribly yet again.
Well, that's
but
a bad problem. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have for sure. But yeah, all the stretch goals it's stuff to put in the book. A lot of Kickstarters do stretch goals where it's like, oh, we add in a shirt or, you get a bottle opener or whatever. And it's like, that stuff kind of stuff is cool, but I like stuff that goes in the book and makes the book better. So content. So it's like, we got to add 2 more frames, which are they're the mecha of the universe. So we get to add 2 more, which brings the total to 8. So there's going to be 8 mecha to choose from in the book. And then 4 more kin, which the kin are like the races or the species of the world. So we have 8 of those as well. And one of the extra frames I'm really excited about because it's going to be like a Grim Reaper looking kind of mecha with like a cloak and a scythe. It's very like Death Scythe. I'm really excited about that. But the one
Mecha in cloaks.
Yes. Oh man, that's honestly one of the main reasons why fantasy mecha just appealed to me is you can finally be like, listen, it makes sense that it has a cloak because it's medieval times. Why wouldn't it have a cloak?
Everybody has cloaks.
Yeah. Exactly. But the one we just unlocked, the ready to play quests, we just unlocked today. And if you've read Mission Manual, you're familiar with like the one-page mission format that we have in there. The quests are going to be similar to that. So this book will actually come with a bunch of adventures to run, basically. So not only will you have, the world information and all the playable stuff, but you'll have missions that you can run right out of the book to really get a feel for like the different aspects of the world. So I'm bringing in a bunch of writers to help me do that. Some of the people that worked on Mission Manual are going to be working on this book as well. Nice. So excited about that.
Yeah, so pretty much this is going to end up being like Mecha Hack and a Mission Manual all in one. You're getting everything, a lot more content.
Exactly. Yeah, kind of both of them put together, and a lot of the like optional rules that I have in Mission Manual that I really liked, like the swarm dice.
Yeah,
and
I
stuff
saw
like
that. That's in this.
Yeah, they're like standard rules in Aether Nexus because I liked them so much.
Yeah, they work. It's such a good idea. Yeah.
Exactly. And when I run Mecha Hack, it's like I never don't use those rules now. So it's like, it's just kind of Mecha Hack now, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next stretch goal. Your last stretch goal is the starship or skyship rules. So
Yes.
we've been looking for a good skyship game, so maybe we could just.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm a little bit I'm daunted by I have to develop those rules. I have rough ideas of what they look like, but I really need to sit down and figure out exactly what they look like. I want to be able to have skyship combat happen where there's maybe a couple characters inside the skyship like running around doing stuff, and there's maybe a couple like in their mechs like fighting,
supporting,
like, outside of the ship.
Yeah.
And I want it all to kind of work but not feel complicated and convoluted.
Well, that was the beauty of Mecha Hack. It was so smooth and simple, but fun.
What I'm hearing is mechs being launched off catapults.
Yes,
absolutely. Obviously.
Board.
Yeah, no,
big old chains and stuff.
Yes, yeah, we have a concept, and we're working with our artists on. We want to have like a cutaway of a skyship, so you can see inside of it. You know what I'm talking about it's like the Star Wars books where you can see inside the Star Destroyer and see all the little guys and stuff. I want to do that, like cut in half skyship, and you can see the mechs hanging in like a hangar, like at the bottom of the ship, like ready to
drop out. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, because I imagine that in this world, because it is like floating islands and stuff, that you basically just pop open the bottom and just drop out of the in your mech. So, yeah.
Fantasy Titanfall.
Fantasy Titanfall, exactly.
And when do you think you'll have it done by? When's the target?
Yeah, so the goal is to kind of try and wrap everything up by early 2024. Hopefully delivering PDFs in early 2024, and then shooting for like a spring of 2024 for physical books.
Yeah.
Obviously, all of that is all up in the air, and shipping right now is just...
Yeah. Yeah, that's I've noticed the shipping to Canada is killer. That's I like to go in PDF.
Rough, yeah, and I feel especially bad for folks in Canada with the shipping. But yeah, hopefully shipping physical products soon after that. So yeah, about a year for production, which seems feasible to me. Most of the core rules are already written. We've already got a lot of the frames done and stuff. And honestly, it's just allowing time for art. The art is the the longest process and most involved process, and then anything stretch goal wise that we unlock obviously has to be written. So but yeah, we're well on our way, so I don't have any worries about delivering here within the year.
And you're only going to have the one artist, right? So that's even harder.
Yeah, we just yep, exactly. So he's gonna be working hard, but it's all gonna be so good. It's all gonna look so good. So
yeah, it's good that it's such a specific style. I don't think you could have multiple artists keep it within that style like very easily.
No, I think it would be tough to not have it kind of clash a little bit, and I think that's part of the why the Mecha Hack and Mission Manual looks so good too. Is just the one artist, and so everything feels very it's a unified vision of what everything looks like. So I want that for Aether as well.
Will the book be similar to the Mission Manual books, the trim and everything, size and?
Oh, in terms of the size, yeah, it'll be the same size and everything. I really like the idea of being able to just have them all sort of on the shelf sitting next to each other and have them all be the same. I think it's A5 is the size of them. So, A5 size, soft
nice
cover.
And portable.
Yeah, nice and portable, lightweight. Like these are, I want people to toss these in their backpacks and bring them to cons and stuff. So yeah.
And that's the beauty of these games too. That you don't need so much that you don't need 100 books to figure out what you're doing. You got right in those small books, you can everything you need.
Yeah. I want people to have more room for bringing like miniatures and stuff, to mecha miniatures to play with instead of just having a bunch of heavy books. So.
You gotta hook up with a STL designer to get some miniatures.
Man, that is the dream. We worked with a couple mini makers in the past. We've worked with Westphalia Miniatures. They did some Dragon Grin miniatures for us, and they've done some other stuff. But I'm really interested in eventually hooking up with someone to do some mecha sculpts, because I feel like the frames from Mecha Hack Core and Mission Manual would look great as miniatures. I feel like the frames from Aether Nexus would look great as miniatures. So really
especially even if you sell them as STLs too, because you could there's so many different variables in those mechs where you have different arms and different.
Oh, man.
additions
Yeah,
and
that
stuff.
would be so cool.
Yeah.
I know you guys are all really into 3D printing and stuff,
Yeah.
so that's right up your alley. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many good like Patreon people out there now that doing their own designs. They're doing other people's designs. So
yeah. And even like in between that, just like little paper standees.
Yeah, standees are always nice.
go a long way.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that because we did that for Mecha Hack and Mission Minnow, and those are super fun. So we'll definitely include the standees and tokens for VTTs and stuff like that as well.
Yeah,
so.
for Roll20 and stuff. That's we always need that because I think we were playing some Call of Cthulhu with some D&D tokens last night, so or 2 nights ago. So
you gotta make do with what you have.
Yeah.
This kobold is a tentacle.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's good to have a whole setup done.
Yeah.
Lots of options. That's the good thing.
To speak to maybe some game design stuff, because that's always a fascinating aspect to talk to a creator.
Yeah.
A project. What would you say was kind of like your most difficult challenge that you've overcome in this project?
Oh man, that is a great question.
No pressure, but these are
it's great.
Hard line.
So for me, it's like the Mecha Hack is so intentionally like lightweight in how it does things, and everything is very simple, and even the most like complicated modules and stuff are like just a couple of sentences. But with Aether Nexus, I really wanted there to be a little bit more stuff going on, and I wanted it to feel a little bit more like robust in terms of like what you could do. And so like writing that line of like, okay, it's Mecha Hack, so I want it to feel like Mecha Hack, but I also want there to be like more stuff for you to do. So like a great example is like the augments in Aether Nexus. They're essentially modules, but they work a little differently because in Mecha Hack the modules were like siege mode. You can go into siege mode, you do more damage at range. In Aether Nexus, it's things like okay, you have a flame emitter, but you can do a bunch of different things with that flame emitter. So you don't just shoot flame, you can also like put flame on a melee weapon, and now you have a flaming sword. We have weapons, energy weapons that you can create. So you can like manifest a weapon, but you can also just like throw out a bunch of like energy darts if you want to. So each augment has like 2 different things that you can do, and like designing those in a way where it was like, okay, I want these to feel cool. I want it to feel like you have like some fun options for combat and out of combat, but I don't want a new player to look at their character sheet and be overwhelmed, because I feel like one of the joys of Mecha Hack is that you can hand someone a character sheet and they can rock it pretty quick. So with Aether Nexus, it's like, and especially as we continue to design systems and stuff for it, it's like, hey, we got to be careful of that. Like the bloat, I don't want it to I don't want the character sheet to spill over into another page. I want it to be simple.
You got to watch out for.
That's been tough.
Watch out for min-maxers and things like that too.
Yes. Right? Yep. Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
That's always the issue with so many options. There's going to be an optimal option.
There's going to be, exactly. Well, and I mentioned earlier, there was an augment in an early playtest where it was like, it didn't make sense to not take it because it was literally better than anything else. So things like that are the more mechanics you write, the more loopholes there's going to be, and the more opportunities for like exploiting the mechanics. To a certain extent, you want that to happen. To a certain extent, you want people to be looking at the system and figuring out what's a cool character to build, and like, how do I do a bunch of cool stuff with what I have? But you don't want the other people in the group to feel like they're being outshined by that person.
Yeah, that's always the issue.
Yeah,
that's cool. And as we said, it's on. We'll have all the in our show notes. We'll have all the links, but. Currently on Kickstarter, still got 23 days.
Yeah, nice long while to go, and we'll do late pledges through BackerKit like we always do. So if people can't get in right away, there's always the option to get in later.
That's nice.
Yeah, you and the price for the PDF is what, $16? That's
amazing.
I
think it's 16.
It's a low in buy-in actually. $26 gets you
the books.
The Aether stuff. And then you add another $10 and you can get all the Mecha Hack stuff. So
So if you don't have Mecha Hack or Mission Manual,
it's a good buy-in. Yeah, it's a good buy-in.
Yeah. Everybody should have that by now, though. Come on.
But if you don't, you should.
Yeah.
So way to get
friends. Because Aether Nexus is very pretty. Doesn't mean Mecha Hack is not fun.
No, I feel like Mecha Hack is gritty and comic booky and fun, and Aether Nexus is a little bit more. I don't know. It's a little bit more Lord of the Rings, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
There's more color to it.
There's color. There's color.
More color. I mean,
honestly, in budgeting the book, it was like, oh, we're gonna have color in this one, guys. Like,
It does give
price goes up.
The kind of like a Fantasy Flight kind of feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Totally.
Yeah. It definitely has a sheen to it. That Mecha Hack was your indie period. This is your serious business.
Entering my AAA publisher era. God, I wish. No, I don't.
No,
you don't. I don't want to have AAA publisher problems.
No, that's right.
No, but it was really cool to have it be successful because honestly, and I'm not saying this because I'm trying to be like overtly humble or anything, but like I had no idea how this was going to do, just because I don't see a ton of people like clamoring for it, and it's kind of weird, and it's also like a bit of a buy-in for the setting where it's like the setting is very baked into the mechanics, so I just didn't know how people were going to react to it. I had an inkling that people were going to respond well when we started kind of sharing art around like about a month ago, and people were like, whoa, this looks cool. And we were getting a ton of engagement on Twitter and stuff. I was like, I think this might do okay for us.
Yeah.
And it's our most successful Kickstarter by a pretty wide mark. We've already
tons of time left.
Mission manual. With 23 days to go. So, I'm feeling just like very excited about that. I get to make the book I want to make. There's always the fear that you're going to fund, but not quite hit that milestone that you really want to hit. And the book is going to get made, but not quite the way you want to make it. But now I get to make the book I want to make. And that's really exciting. So
I also think you are on the forefront of the idea of fantasy mechs. I guarantee within like 10 years, we'll see tons of these kind of things, or even 5 years. It's just
I could see that,
I would say 5 years.
It was just amazing.
Sci-fi gets more and more saturated.
Sci-fi is so saturated right now.
Because we were just talking about this the other day at Adepticon, how the year before you could probably count on one hand how many mech games there are.
Right.
And then this year we're like, and then that Kickstarter that just went off for Catalyst.
On top of that.
Battletech.
So 20 of all time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy for them and for Battletech. The more people we have playing Battletech,
everybody gets into big stompy, but this is a nice alternative too. You're not competing with that at all because it's not the same thing.
Not even a little bit. No, totally. It's completely its own thing, and I think it's cool too that we do have big games like Lancer is obviously very well known and has a huge book and a ton of like supplemental material. But there's a ton of little indie mech games out there too, on itch.io and stuff.
Yeah, there was a bundle not long ago that for some charity or other, and there was so many games I've never heard of. I'm like, wow, there is so many mech games.
And like really cool concept. Like there was one where it was like the whole game was you're like a group of friends that stumble across like an ancient mech, and you get to like explore it and like fix it up and stuff, and just like really cool ideas. I feel
that's the beauty of itch.io is that you can do like real niche things where it's just like this doesn't have to be a full-on game. It just could be 5 pages of, hey, this is fun, let's play this for a night.
It's just like a little experience that you get to have. Well, I feel like Mecha is great for that too, because Mecha just makes everything better, so you can tell like these cool quaint little stories, and it's like, oh, but it also has mechs in it.
Yeah, that's been built into right from the beginning, I think, with the once again with Gundam and stuff. It's never really been about the mechs. It's about the setting, and the mechs just happen to be there. About the characters and the
icing on the cake. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that might wrap it up. We will have a giveaway. We're going to give away some Mecha Hack and Mission Manual codes for some people, and I I don't know how we'll do it. We'll do it somehow. We'll put it in the.
Leave, like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest way. We'll pick some people from the comments on Facebook or on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Yeah, or even
so...
Twitter too. I guess we can go for Twitter too. So yeah. Like if
name your favorite fantasy mech.
There's like 5 to choose from. Yeah, exactly.
We can give one mecha hack away to the closest dollar guess point when the Kickstarter closes.
Yeah, that's right. How close you are to the end. Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll figure
it out.
If
anyone has any guesses, let me know. I have no idea.
This spider mech thing is creeping me out.
Oh, the Aether cap?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's some
so many bumps on it that are falling off.
Yeah, those are all spiders, baby.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's everywhere.
No, that's you know what the best thing is that's the support mech. If you want to play support, you have to play that creepy spider.
Yeah, and
there it is.
Give your spiders away. Here, take them.
Yeah, give your spiders to your friends.
That's disturbing. Yes. Is the playtest out there for everyone, or is that closed?
Yeah, so you get access to the playtest if you back, but if you don't feel like backing, we have links to the playtests on the Absolute Tabletop Discord. So it's easy enough to join there, and you can grab the playtest.
Perfect.
But, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I think everybody at least play Mecha Hack and Mission Manual before backing this, because that you'll get the feel of what this is going to be, but just think bigger, right?
Yeah, bigger and just more weird stuff. Yeah, totally.
Or you can back it and then play Mecha Hack as you wait for the
yeah. Well, that's just definitely Mecha Hack. You can get it. Like, I'm sure it's on Drive-Thru RPG, all those places.
I think it's like $6 on Drive-Thru.
Yeah,
and it pretty
the price is so regular.
So,
yeah. So if you don't already own that, come on, just jump in.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, it's been great talking to you, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely.
We like having
likewise,
you on.
Yeah.
And
appreciate it, and it's always great chatting with you guys.
Congratulations again on a successful Kickstarter.
No, thank you.
By the end,
that.
it'll
Really
be we're going for $1 million, right?
Oh, don't even. I don't know what I would do.
Well, that's next
Canadian. Week. Now that's more like it. Yeah. Now that's interesting.
Yeah, when you get to real money, that's getting scary, because then you got to. That's serious business. You get into tens of thousands of backers, and
yeah, I feel like there's definitely a law of diminishing returns when it comes to funding like this, where it's like, I don't want to make too much money.
Yeah,
exactly.
The IRS starts coming by.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, right now, you're like, please, I'm losing money. Come on, you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, no, it's good. Everybody should back it. We'll have the links, but it's Aether Nexus. Aether Nexus.
It's not the easiest to say.
It's better than the other one you had.
Really, it's better than Apparatus of Fury.
I know you guys like Aether, but if you say Aether, it rolls easier.
Aether Nexus. It does.
It rolls easier when you say
Aether.
Aether is the way to say it.
Yeah.
Anyways,
we have a doc with about 15 possible names for this thing that we went through. Aether
that's
Nexus
a good name.
So
I love Nexus. Nexus is great. A fantasy mecha RPG, and play it with miniatures if you want. You don't have to. We played on Roll20. We kind of had miniatures.
Yeah, we use. So it would be like miniatures when we did on Roll20, but we just used whatever those character icons were called.
Yeah, but please do go back it, because Matt needs a new house.
He needs is another shelf back there for.
I need more Gundams.
Is that Escaflowne? I think the
it is Escaflowne's back there. I got this full mechanics aerial. I need a house for my full mechanics aerial.
Very nice.
Yeah. The back
He's got a box of shame like the rest of us.
Back, go watch Gundam Winter Mercury too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, exactly.
Well, it's been fun talk to you. We'll be back it's less than a month now for our next episode, but until then.
Is it really?
Well, yeah. Our episode just came out.
We're like 5 days in. We're a business weekend.
The way you were talking, it sounded like we were like past
coming up quick.
Already.
No, it's not that quick.
It can't be mid-June already.
No, we're doing all right. Okay. Until then, I've been Rob.
All right. I've been Brian.
And I've been Pat.
And that was Matt.
And that was Matt. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Matt.
This has been Mobile Armor Radio. Join our Facebook group by searching for Mobile Armor Radio. Find us on Twitter at @MArmorRadio. Join us on the first of every month for more mecha discussion.